Picture a courtroom in the mid-1900s where laws openly treated men and women differently, where equality was more of a concept than a reality or legal standard. Into that world stepped a woman who refused to accept that she was any less than a man. That woman was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. As a fellow woman and aspiring lawyer, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been an inspiration to me starting from a very young age. Today we will look at the famous RBG's accomplishments and struggles and the profound legacy that she left behind. Let's begin with just some of many things that RBG accomplished throughout her life. Ruth Bader Ginsburg achieved numerous historical firsts for women. Who here has ever heard of Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Ruth Bader Ginsburg excelled academically, eventually becoming the first female member of the prestigious Harvard Law Review and first person, male or female, to become a member of both the Harvard and Columbia Law Review. In 1963, she became the second female law professor, one of very few in the country, at Rutgers Law School, where she fought for equal pay. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's accomplishments extended far beyond her years in school. As an ACLU attorney, she argued 6 major gender discrimination cases before the Supreme Court and won 5. Her strategic approach used mostly men to gain the favor of the male judges and ultimately making an impact for women's rights and justices. Ginsburg went from arguing cases before the Supreme Court to hearing them. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter appointed her to the U.S. Court of Appeals, and in 1993, she was appointed to the Supreme Court by President Bill Clinton. However, it was not easy for her to get here. Ruth Bader Ginsburg overcame systematic barriers that would have stopped most people. By a show of hands, how many of you have ever been told you couldn't or shouldn't do something because of your gender or race? Ruth Bader Ginsburg faced many challenges, including discrimination in her early life, making it harder for her to get to the place that she did. As one of only 9 women in her class of more than 500 at Harvard Law School, she was questioned for taking a man's place. She later transferred to Columbia Law School, where she balanced her studies while taking care of her ill husband and newborn child, and yet still excelled academically. She didn't just encounter discrimination at school, it followed her into the workplace. Despite graduating first in her class from Columbia Law School in 1959 and her outstanding academic record, Ginsburg continued to encounter gender discrimination while seeking employment after graduation. When she did get hired, people would question her ability and lower her pay due to the fact that she was a married Jewish woman and a mother. Despite all the challenges she faced, she made an impact. Her unwavering determination and persistence led to transformations in the legal system that will be remembered forever. Close your eyes for a moment and think of a leader, past or present, whose influence continues long after they're gone. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is one of those leaders. She worked very hard and had a strong desire for justice in the law. The 6 major cases she argued were Duren v. Missouri, Califano v. Goldfarb, Edwards v. Healy, Weinberger v. Weisenfeld, Kahn v. Shevin, and Frontiero v. Richardson. Many of the gender equality protections we rely on today, like equal credit access, equal pay protections, and non-discrimination in schools, were shaped by her work. She left a cultural and inspirational legacy. She showed that leadership can be firm yet respectful, strong but compassionate. She maintained friendships even with ideological opposites. Nicknamed the notorious RBG, she became a symbol of resilience, intellect, and quiet power, inspiring young people like me all across the nation. Now that we've explored her accomplishments, struggles, and lasting influence, let's review. Ruth Bader Ginsburg inspires us in many ways through her groundbreaking work for gender equality, civil leadership, and her remarkable resilience. Together, these qualities created a legacy that continues to guide generations. So as we step forward into our own lives, into our classrooms, our workplaces, our communities, remember that change doesn't come from being the loudest in the room, it comes from being the most persistent. May we continue her work, following her example, and standing up for what matters, even when all odds are against you. Thank you.